Um, the Mad Libs assignment. Let's talk about that really quick. So the interesting thing about this Mad Libs is that it was actually um, generated about 10 years ago, I think, as part of an experiment in um, artificial intelligence. Could you try again? Siri, speaking of artificial intelligence. Um, so, interesting thing about this is that what they did to test the artificial intelligence was they would give it this without the describing words here, and they would see if the artificial intelligence could read through the text and put appropriate words in the blanks given the surrounding context. So it was a really interesting experiment, but I thought it would be fun for this class. So I put this text all into a string for you. And if you look at it there in Canvas, there is a place to download a starter file that has this in a string. So all you're going to do is you're going to get user input for each one of the blanks. And you can use string.format or an F string, either way. And make sure you put comments in your code, okay? Comments, the way I would suggest is right above, you might put a hashtag and say, this line gets the user's name. Something like that. Anything you type with the pound sign in front of it or the hashtag in front of it becomes a comment, meaning Python will ignore it and it's just there for people. Comments are something that I cannot stress to you enough. If you're going to work in any kind of software development, even if you're working by yourself, comment your stinking code. You will thank yourself later, and your team will thank you later when they have to try and figure it out what the heck it was that you were trying to do in the middle of the night when you were on like 5 Red Bulls trying to finish the project on time, right? So you're probably hallucinating if you took 5 Red Bulls or having a heart attack. So don't do that. But comments. Comments are another way for you to explain to me what it is you're doing in your code, which helps me understand whether or not you understand what you're doing, which helps me be a better teacher and give you better feedback and all that stuff. Question? I would say the line above it. So any line that starts with the hashtag, that whole line of text all the way to hit enter is going to be a comment. And I would just say for each line, and it doesn't have to be super verbose, it doesn't have to be proper English, it could be just get your point across. And it doesn't have to be every line. You could say, like, on this top part, you could say, like, these lines get the user input. Like, if you got 20 input statements, I don't need to be like, this one gets the age, this one gets the favorite color, this one gets his favorite shoe style. No, I don't. I'm slow, but I'm not that slow. You can use your own judgment and logic. But if you were going to give your code to somebody who didn't know what you were doing, they should be able to understand what it is you were doing and why you were doing it. By the way, the person that you're giving your code to that you want to understand could be you in a couple of weeks. Because in a couple of weeks, if you're coding a bunch of other stuff, you go back to it, you're like, oh my gosh, what was I thinking? I'm embarrassed to tell you that happens to me all the time, and it will happen more frequently with every passing year of your life. Thank you, aging. Okay, so enjoy the peak of brain activity in the next few years of your life, guys. Really seriously. So it is all downhill after that. That is, let me just make sure I covered everything. Yeah, everything's in Canvas that you need. Make sure you comment. So getting user input is required. String.format or fstring is required. Somebody always asks me, hey, can I do my own Mad Libs? Yes. Just don't do a Mad Libs with only like one user input. Try and, I don't know, there's like, I don't know, maybe 7 or 9 or 10 or something like that. Try and get in that ballpark. I'm not going to count them. Nobody has time for that. But just if you want to do your own thing, just try and make it equivalent to this. That's totally cool. Yes. You could, but Mad Libs, the idea is, if you're not familiar with Mad Libs, the idea is the user gives words based on parts of speech, so adjective, noun, verb, a brand of footwear. You could be that specific, um, or a food. You could do things like that without knowing what the story is going to be. And then once you put those words in the story, it's supposed to be like a silly, goofy story. Yeah, and like if you're a third grader, you're like everything is like fart and poop and all that stuff. But maybe maybe we could be more mature here. I don't know. Maybe we'll see. But yeah, that's sort of the general idea. You can also find a ton of pre-written Mad Libs online, and you can use those too. So just whatever you want, as long as it's sort of the equivalent of what we got here. So we're just writing the code though, and we give it to you, but you can put it. Yeah, I'm gonna play all the Mad Libs. Yeah, I get to have the fun, and you guys write the code. So yeah, and I will put everything as poop when I do it, of course. So um, yeah, no, that's sort of the idea. And honestly, I don't sit there and play everybody's Mad Libs, but I do look at your code to make sure that it's actually going to run properly. I do play some of them though, honestly. Maybe I should have my kids test them. That would be good. Anyway, any other questions about A2? Cool. Well, you have like 30 minutes where you could work on this. So I would encourage you to do so.